Welcome to our weekly show, Bottom Line, where we discuss various economic issues, sometimes politics as well. My colleague Shankkar Aiyar, who is always in Toronto, less in India, so he gives me the Indian view from the foreign land, and I give the Indian view from the Indian land. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree. First, I must wish you Happy New Year, and we are going to discuss what is going to happen in 2026. 2025 has gone. There can be discussion about it, whether it was a good year or a bad year, but it ended well because there's nothing wrong happened in India. Everything is stabilized, except tu meme, what is usual in Indian politics. But let us start with our 2026. And the first headline, which will be tomorrow and everywhere, Trump hai to mumkin hai. Trump has done what others could not think of. One president of another country flies the troop to another country, capture the president of that country, bring them back to his country for trial. Have you ever heard of it? It happened in 1989 when George Bush was there. He did the same thing in Panama, got arrested the president of that state, that country, and brought him back to America. This regime change has happened. What does it mean in terms of world economy? I'll ask Shankar to just reflect on 2-3 minutes on that. Shankar, tell me.
बेसिकली प्रभु ये जो धमाका हुआ है
Hmm.
दिस इज a battle for resources, material resources, both for oil and for minerals. So Venezuela on its own, currently a GDP of less than $100 billion, is a very poor country run by a communist dictator, but it is resource rich. It has oil, it has minerals, and in a sense, Trump sees this as his backyard because South America is his backyard. And this was clearly stated in the national security document they released just now. What Trump is doing in Ukraine, in Venezuela, threatening Iran, is domination of resources. So we have to see this action. This is a straight inspired by a movie called Sicario, in which they actually lifted a CIA lifted a drug cart lord. In this case, they have lifted a president, and the way they had organized the escape of the opposition leader shows that they have full control over the country now.
Basically, Shankar, you're saying this is Trump's MAGA mission, basically, and it's economic imperialism on the part of America, that we want to capture the resources worldwide. They wanted even, part of that Iceland to be brought into to their own empire. They wanted that also at that time. And I'm told, as you rightly pointed out, a fight for resources. 303 billion barrels of oil reserves are in Venezuela, which is the highest in the world, most of the countries put together. And I heard Trump, he said, because they were throwing out our American companies, so I want to capture them back. So it is because of reserves and making America great again, not depending on other sources for oil. Is that the one? This is the way how you look like all the countries, powerful countries like China is also fighting for something, America is also fighting for something, and India is also looking for more territories because America has banned our entry there. What do you think? Is global economic metrics changing?
So all the regime changes in the past 20 years, Prabhu, have been about oil. Whether it was George W. Bush Sr., whether it was George W. Bush Jr., who removed Saddam, and now Trump. Basically, oil has always been seen as the black gold, and now data is seen as the new gold. So China is oil dependent, but it has technology. So it is trying to capture the space of data and technology. And Trump has to compete with China. So US requires materials, rare earth minerals, silver, all those materials that are required for electric cars, for all the silicon chips and the NVIDIA chips and all. So this is basically Trump trying to gain supremacy over the next competitor, which is China.
Basically, trying to retain American economic supremacy, basically, because China is growing
Yes.
faster. That is what he's saying. He's worried about manufacturing, supply chain, disturbed, everything is happening there. So he's trying to balance out by going to Venezuela and trying to Ukraine also. He finally will get what he wants, I think.
So economic supremacy is what gives you the political global supremacy. Pehle, you had Britain, which was ruling, the sun never set on it, and then this it set very badly in 1945, and then USA took over, and for the last 70, 75 years, they have been the dominant force. China has now been challenging that domination, both in currency, in exports, and all the economic factors. This battle will continue now, and the trade war is actually now a small part of it, not a major part of it, but it's still a significant part of it.
Shankar, other thing is almost after almost 1 year that he started a tariff war, what I call he started a terrorism all over the world. And still he has survived, and other nations are equally survived. What's the magic behind this thing? Because American way of pressurizing rest of the economy didn't work that much as he expected. Is that right?
So two factors, Prabhu. One is that it is the largest economy, so it will consume. It is the largest consumer in the market. So every country wants to sell their goods or services to the United States, so they will try and adjust this. Why the Trump magic has survived despite the maximum opposition to tariff is from within the United States. Actually, the other countries who were supposed to retaliate and respond and all has not happened. Other than India, which has stood firm on its position, most countries have sort of, and China, of course, most countries have given up. So in the US, the belief was that he will sort of back out. Trump always chickens out. Taco is the phrase for him. But what has happened is that companies are thinking कि कल पलट जाएगा, परसों पलट जाएगा. He'll suspend something, he'll do something, he will give exemptions, and prices are therefore being held for. There is some inflation in the US because of tariffs, but not as much. This year, actually, we will come to know whether they sustain or not, because companies will at some point tire of eating the tariff, as they call it. They are absorbing the costs, and because they are absorbing the costs, and employment is sort of slower, hiring is happening. This will play out, and Trump, as long as his sloganeering works, he's got his base with him.
But you see, one thing very good, I'm using that word which it applies to Nitish Kumar in India. People are saying that he's a Paltu Ram. He goes back, U-turn. But I've seen for the past couple of months, he has not done that U-turn on various issues. He's very consistent. And what is surprising that the American economy is growing very fast, which is surprising. He's putting so much of tariff and everything, things are becoming expensive, but going at 4%. That is what I have heard. Is it right? 4%?
Yeah. So this is the paradox that people are still struggling with.
Yeah.
But the truth is that there is a lot of investment that has happened during the Biden period and now again. So the new investments in chip factories, in phone factories, all of that is pushing them. Also, Prabhu, they have a debt of $34 trillion. Their deficit is around $3.5 trillion. So this kind of money, the fiscal power that has been poured into the economy will have, again now this year, they have a massive tax rate cut coming in. So this is keeping the economy afloat.
No, but doing well, it means whatever Biden regime has done, that reflecting now in this year. But what the figures are telling, even the more investment coming into America, that is what Trump is claiming. Yes. So many billions of dollars have come back from the companies. The American companies are now investing more in America. That means next year that will be reflected in more growth, more jobs. And that's why gives the confidence. Sorry? No, let me complete. That gives more confidence to him. Dollar prices, whether the rest of the currencies is also stable or growing everywhere. That perhaps gives him the confidence to go and attack Venezuela. He's getting the domestic power, economic power back.
I think it is the other way. There is a lot of strain in the domestic economy. His ratings on economic management are pretty bad. It's around 36 or something percent. What is relevant here, Prabhu, is that he has managed to keep and consolidate his base, giving them new. He's keeping on shifting the goalpost. Venezuela, for instance, was about drugs, then it became about oil, then about democracy. So he keeps shifting. He's a very good communicator.
It's a combination of economics
Yesterday,
and politics, both
yeah,
democracy
yeah,
and
and
economics. That's
yeah,
what. So
and
let me
yesterday
come
he has
back.
threatened Iran.
Go back.
He has
Yeah.
threatened Iran also.
So go back to law. Coming back to India, what does it mean
Hmm.
now after 1 year of going back and forth? Mr. Piyush Goyal making half a dozen visits to America, American people coming here. I don't see any trade agreement on the horizon. Will it happen or not happen? What is because exporters are crying here now, importers are crying because the cost. Even today, I read in the newspaper, import costs have gone up by 25 to 30%, and Indian trade manufacturers and everybody is asking for much more subsidy, concession from the government because ours is a concession hungry corporate sector. They want concessions for everything. So when
So
will
we
it
have
when will
very
it
little.
ease?
So our competitiveness is very low. So 40% of our exports, for instance, Prabhu, are dependent on imports. We import cloth, diamond, gold, everything is imported. Then we do whatever value addition and we sell it. So there is a pressure on the economy. The
So it means
other
Indian. Yeah, yeah.
and and India uh, thought that it had a very easy time. In February, March, they were talking as if the trade deal was just for their available for their picking and all. The fact is, Trump has a greater than real life image of himself. He's a megalomaniac. So he wants India to genuflect. He wants India to give him that headline, which he thought that the intervention in the Pakistan war with Pakistan would have the ceasefire that he claimed would give him, and India has resisted that. Now he is like a wounded soldier, a wounded lion or wounded tiger. He is trying to get the maximum out of India, and this trade deal, I don't think is coming through in the next 6 8 months at least.
It is
It
surprising.
all depends.
It is some kind of, I can't figure out the contradiction that India has got billionaires, they've got corporate sectors who are in the first 100 Forbes companies, also 50 Forbes companies, but still, as you pointed out, there's no competitiveness. Indian corporate sectors may be rich in terms of turnover or whatever because of the market, but this competitiveness, at the end, Indian corporate sectors are incompetent to compete with global people. Therefore,
So
dependence on the
there is
government.
one very interesting thing you mentioned about billionaires, Prabhu, is if you see the list of billionaires, say in US, it has Elon Musk, it has the Google founders, it has Bill Gates. All of them have created something, global brands. You see the Indian list, there is no global brand. India is the only economy which has reached the number 4 status without actually having a global brand. See, before this, Japan was there, it has global brands. UK is there, it has global brands. US is there, it has global brand. China has so many new global brands. BYD, their electric car, is the largest selling electric car in the world. So in Xiaomi, the phones and everything. India doesn't have that, and therefore the question about the competition. By the way, Elon Musk alone has more billions. The sum total of India's billionaires, their wealth is 589 billion. Elon Musk on its own, just one person, is worth 630 billion. So that tells you the story. Similarly, Nvidia, its market cap is somewhere in the region of 5 trillion, and
Hmm.
India's GDP is 4 trillion. So there are comparisons there also.
Yeah, I just want to figure out one thing. When is going to withdraw the tariffs? Is there any timeline you can figure out?
No, not. I don't think this is happening because he is addressing only that which matters to him, which is Say, for instance, yesterday he reduced tariffs on suspended tariff on furniture because people are complaining. Before that, he suspended tariff on beef. Before that, on Brazilian imports, on Argentine beef. So he is just addressing that.
So
What is India
you
selling
mean to
that
say
we
that
can't get elsewhere?
you mean to say in 2026 we don't expect much relief from Trump in terms of tariff?
No, not at all. And in fact, the currency won't recover because of that, and the markets also will be sort of flattish.
So then coming to the next question, the tariffs are not reduced. Don't you think the
Hmm.
trade deficit, which is almost $100 billion even now, we have to suffer for it again and again? It will put pressure on foreign currency deposits here. It will put on many other pressure. Costs will go up here. And ultimately, Indian economy, which has become now the third largest, they are calling out, they have beaten Japan, and after that, fourth largest. I don't know what's the
Hmm.
misnomer about that in terms of volume. It
Hmm.
is hospital. We'll discuss that later. First, let us come there, which means the economy will have to live with American tariffs.
Yes, we have to live with the American tariff till his whim, his regal highness Mr. Trump decides. Because officially, both the officials on both sides are saying, okay, we've got a deal, we can do it. But he is not convinced, so he will keep us dragging. Because finally, Prabhu, we have to agree that we don't sell anything that America can't do without.
Yeah, but in America, it's created during the AI. We are still talking about digital India. In AI, but the Americans have beaten every bit. China has beaten
Yeah,
everyone else. They
yeah.
were working on it
So,
already, and we are still trying to copy them and trying to stop them from using AI to defame our country there. Now it has become the reverse part. So
but
what
you
you,
know,
yeah, yeah,
what the question to address the question that you ask, what is the economic road ahead, is that one good news in all this is because of this Venezuela and Iran and all these things, so the price of crude oil had come down to Brent crude is around 60-62. So India benefits from the lower crude oil prices because that is our largest item, but it is hurt by the import of gold which we do because gold prices have gone up. So India's economy will be like caught in that दिल्ली का राउंड अबाउट पे जैसे होता है गाड़ी थोड़ी निकलेगी आगे थोड़ा जाएंगे थोड़ा निकलेंगे ऐसे इस टाइप का भी सिचुएशन है.
so, so coming back from there to next question is that because of this trade deficit, even if we go back to our own country, like we are borrowing a lot of money. Our
Hmm.
borrowing has gone up. What could be the reason? And borrowing at 15 lakh crore rupees, that is the highest, I think, in the last decade. What is the reason for that kind of
Not
borrowing?
so not only the central borrowing, even the states borrowing. The states this year will end borrowing at around 12 lakh crore. And it is bizarre. I mean, that the center borrows 15 lakh crores, states will borrow 12 lakh crores, and a large part of it, as we had discussed in our previous program, is towards feeding the desperate people. So we have the largest food program, the largest medical program, the largest rural employment program, the largest housing program. So all of this, but also, I mean, out of the state government spending, 3 lakh crores, Prabhu, is just cash transfers to women. So basic thing is when you can't address the issue of employment and growth, then you have to subsidize, you have to pay money, and that is why they're borrowing. And even if that borrowing may be less now, if we lose jobs to AI, that is the big threat that the economy faces.
You're basically producing unemployment by paying it.
Yes, yes,
You're creating, it's a paid unemployment now.
yeah, because you are fed, you are looked after, and
Yeah,
everything. घर पे बैठो,
you don't work, you will get the money at home. Like
हाँ,
Assam Chief Minister done now every month they will get so much of money that. But out of that,
हाँ,
25% is also going for paying interest also. Repayment will start little later. The question is excessive borrowing is not good for the economy in the long term because you have to produce. They are claiming that we are investing 2 lakh crore rupees in infrastructure every year out of this money. They must be borrowing for that also.
So, Prabhu, like last year we discussed, last year in the last show we had discussed this. The clearest signal that the economy is not pumping or punching at its weight is that despite all the good news, the private sector is not investing. Why are they not investing? Because they see no great demand. In fact, this latest GST figure again is at 1.7 lakh crores or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't show very too much hope about consumption despite all
Right.
the tom-tomming.
Because this was the third quarter, which was the festival season. It should have a much
Yes,
more
yes,
higher growth than
yes.
whatever. But they're still given the
Mm.
figure in such a way that is 8% growth despite low rate. They're trying to bump it up. But the question is, economy is not showing signs of fast, more recovery, though we are the fourth largest economy or third largest economy. That is a different issue. But in terms of what is happening to India, in terms of future, I'm talking about it, your deficit is going up, your borrowing is going up, your per capita income is almost stagnant. Your inflation, you are claiming at 2.3%, but still people are not buying enough because when the inflation is down, you must purchase more. Except they are saying the cars, maximum number of cars were sold in Delhi. Record 1 lakh cars were sold in 1 month. That is what they are saying. Because you pay cheap loans and banks are chasing more loans, giving loans to everybody than getting deposits. That's a different issue altogether. Every day I get a call, you want a car loan, you want a car loan. That means the whole banking industry is working only for auto industry, nothing else. Going
No,
back to that, yeah,
all the banks have ads for you want 50 lakh loan, you want 30 lakh loan, you have 20 lakh loan, which means the industry is not borrowing.
that was very surprising because I've been watching for the last 3 years. Banks' job is only to give car loans. They don't ask you for any other loan. You want a car loan? You want a car loan? Why didn't you replace your car? But what is the economics behind it? Why banks are only car, this automobile industry and car industry, the banking industry, are they running each other or what?
But there has always been that symbiotic thing that the automobile companies' profits are deployed in banks and bank instruments, and the banks then lend abroad. There are so many non-bank finance companies also which are financing this. But bigger thing which we must see is that the NSSO data says that more Indians are indebted than before. We were supposed to be a non-borrowing society, that we should not borrow. Now more Indians are borrowing. Worse, the younger people are buying everything on this buy now, pay later credit card schemes. So that is the other aspect that is coming through. That people will call you, do you want personal loan? You open any app now, it says, do you want personal loan?
So India is also becoming the like US EMI country now. Everybody's on EMI, borrow and spend, borrow
Ah.
and spend. But we'll say later on what is happening because even employment growth is not happening, salaries are not increasing, but car sales are going up all the country and in turn causing more pollution also. That's a different issue.
So
Coming back to the
those
favorites. Yeah, sorry.
those who have money are able to buy things. Those who don't are dependent on the government.
There's a limit to everybody. Rich people also buying how
Yes,
many
yes,
cars they
yes.
can park in their garage. Yeah? Even the Mr. Ambani may not be able to park all the 20 floors of parking with all the cars which he has got. Coming back to the whole thing, which everybody talks about it. For the last 10 years, if you look at 7 years particularly, the stock market, both BSC and NSE, this year has been the lowest growth in terms of 7 to 8%, which is very low. It's 72,000 to 79,000, which went up, and the PSC went up from 21 to
So the
24.
returns are sub 5% on most stocks.
So it means that this ultimately the overvaluation of the Indian stocks is coming down, being exposed. That is the heated market.
It is staying at that level, Prabhu, only because Indians are forced to invest in the Indian market. The day they open the Indians to invest abroad, even this will come down. Indians are subsidizing the exit of foreigners from the Indian market. Every month, including this month, over 20,000 crores have been foreigners are selling. So the question is that you have to figure out how to bring them back. And
Yeah, they are
this is
taking back
also,
money. No, you're talking
huh?
about, I'm just talking about that, but because it is the lowest growth in terms of indexes in the last couple of years. So obviously that kind of confidence which was there in the earlier Indian market that it would grow Even the large cap start growing, small caps are almost disappearing. The startup goof up, what happened, that is bubble is busting one by one. So therefore, people are, as you pointed out, looking at alternative sources of investment. Gold became one. Gold may not be permanent one again. The housing people are investing, that is also not coming up that way. So this ultimately, when the stock market doesn't grow, people who want to expand their businesses, they were also depending on the stock market for expansion. They did not invest so much. Even after raising so much of IPO, actual investment in the private sector is not reflecting what they have raised money through the IPOs. It is money has gone somewhere else.
62% of the money has gone elsewhere. So now,
Else, yeah.
why would the private sector invest if housing market is down, if your GST is showing consumption is not very robust, if employment growth is shaky, if the government's infrastructure projects are the only ones that are keeping the economy afloat.
So, mean to say, let us conclude by saying that 2026, what is going to happen? That tariff, India has to live with American tariffs. India has to reduce its fiscal deficit. India has to stop paying doles again and again, put into productive investment. And third, the stock market has to be a little more cautious. People may not invest much more. Is that right?
Yes, perfect. In the sense that if something seems too good to be true, it is normally not true.
So Mr. Modi has to look inward now, that he has to control what is, he has to consolidate as they in the democracy. First year is the year of celebration, second year is the year of consolidation. So this is second year for his regime, of the third term. And you think Modi should consolidate the gains which he had made in the past in terms of politics, in terms of economics, much more, if he has to get into third year again.
Yes, and this is the best opportunity because there are very few elections, and these elections anyway, BJP is not expected to sort
Okay,
of
on
win.
that note,
So,
we end the discussion today. Bottom line is that India must consolidate the gains. We'll meet next week again, discuss some other topic. Till then, thank you, everybody. Keep watching.
thank you.
Bottom line, watch it, subscribe it, share it, write comments. As I said, bitter, sweet, ugly, bad. We won't mind. Both of us respond to it with a big smile. Thank you very much.